What is up? I'm Swall Dog. I like to build cool stuff. Today we are working on the Yukon. We've got a road trip coming up this week and a couple little things that we got to fix on this baby before we head out. Hopefully it won't be that big of a deal. But the first thing, tail lights. These tail lights, specifically the brake lights, are not working. When we first got this, the right tail light was having issues. It was kind of being intermittent and it's totally stopped working now. And now the left tail light just barely started, getting really dim, not working. Hit the brakes. Off. On. Off. On. Off. On. Okay. There's actually been a recall 2014 to 2016. So I called the dealership, even though we didn't fall, we're a little newer than that, we're 2017. I called the dealership to see because there was potentially going to be another recall for the newer 17 to 19s. And they said, they looked up the VIN, they said, well, there is no recall, but there is some kind of a special warranty just for taillights on these vehicles. And the special warranty just for the taillights is 6 years, which we're still under, or 72,000 miles. We're at 90,000 miles, so we didn't qualify. But with the issues I'm reading about online, it wouldn't surprise me if GM was like, oh, when do the taillights typically start having issues? 72,000? Okay, we're gonna do the warranty up to 72,000 miles. Just ridiculous. And I don't know if that's the case. Anyways, digging a little bit online, there's a couple of easy fixes. The problem is these taillights are expensive. Like, you're like $800 to $1,000 a piece, like from the dealership. Even Rock Auto, you're like $600 per taillight. You can find some cheap ones online for $300, but man, that is expensive. But there is some pretty easy, supposedly, fixes for these taillights. So we're gonna try it. What it is there's two little spots on the circuit board in the back that are just really thin, just breaks from vibration, just wearing out over time, and that's why the taillights start to get intermittent and then eventually stop working altogether. So we're gonna tear these taillights off and see if we can get them fixed. Okay, the first thing we gotta do is pop this little cover off right here. This side, it's already missing, but it just has clips that go right in here. And I think maybe on that. Like that. Next, we got to take these two Torxes out. I think they're T15. And now this taillight should just pull just like that. It's just got two little right there. I'm gonna pop this wire clip off. Okay, right there. And then unplug your wires. This bottom one just twists. Top one has a little clip on the bottom, I think. Oh, just like that. There she is. Okay, we've got our spots marked out. Supposedly where you can cut and access to fix that little circuit board. I'm sure there's a way for those guys that take apart taillights to take the lens off. I watched a video, a guy used a Dremel
to cut the whole thing, but it was kind of a hack job. But I'm sure there's a way. Them guys that rebuild tail lights to take these apart and do it that way. But most of the people I've seen, they just cut here and access the back of the circuit board and solder it. So we're gonna try that. Some people have used just a soldering iron, but I don't want to dirty my soldering iron up. I saw another guy that was using a razor knife, heating it up with a torch, and then just cutting it. So we're gonna try that. Okay, got it. But I mean, it was probably broken, but I bent it a little bit because this little dot right there on this plastic piece is where this was actually hooked. A little hole, if you can see that right there. So hopefully we didn't mess this up. Maybe I should have cut this little nipple off or something first. Let's do the bottom one. Alright, we got both cut out. So you can see here and here. This bottom one was kind of a pain. I kind of mangled this piece cutting it out. But it's easier just to cut more, I think, and destroy this little thing. Or cut it smaller so it comes out easier. Because I'm just gonna hot glue it back in. But you can see, so this one's cracked and it was broken right here on this side. And this one has a crack in it also. But what I noticed too is there's these other little tabs right here. And there's one in here. I don't know if you can see those. And there's one here and one here. And I don't know, because those connect the positive and negative side. So I don't think they're supposed to be hooked. What I think those little tabs were to hold these in the assembly process. I think it spaces everything out. So when they put the board in and glue it in, and then there's another piece that like stamps on top of it, it breaks those little tabs once everything's glued in. That's what I'm assuming, because those little teeny tabs don't make any sense to me. And everything I've seen online, like when I was trying to watch other people's videos when they were repairing these were all broken, and they said the lights worked. So I'm just going to solder across here, and I'm going to solder across here, and not worry about these teeny little tabs, and then see if it works. Let's get soldered. Okay, well, where'd that piece go? Tried soldering that little guy, and it just broke. It fell down in. So I'm not going to try to solder it back on, but you can see she broke. So I've seen a couple people that just put a wire across there. So that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to solder a wire. I'm going to find a piece of wire and cut it and solder it. That's pretty ghetto, I'm not going to lie. I'm a welder, not a solderer. I'm probably not even using the right soldering iron for something like this. But I had to, at first when I cut, I left the insulation on the wire in the middle to help hold the wires together. But then when I tried to strip the other side, it just came apart. So I actually stripped one side, soldered it so the wires would stay together. I wish I had a piece of solid copper that would work, but this was like 12 gauge or something. I probably could have got away with like 16, would have been fine, but I'm actually going to test it. This one's just cracked and not broken yet. I'm just going to test it before I put it back together like this and see what it does. Booyah! Right on. Okay. She works! I'm going to start out of the bottom one, just so there's no problems in the future. And I'm going to bend those little tabs all the way out of the way so they don't end up contacting anything. Obviously it works without them connected, so I don't think those little tabs are anything. So let's get this other one soldered. Okay, I actually got a couple strands of this wire. Not quite all of them, maybe about half of them, twisted them together and then put a little solder on them to hold them. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm just going to lay this one, even though this one's not fully broken, I'm just going to lay it across the top to solder it to help alleviate what the last one did was break. So let's see if this works. Dang! That one turned out way better. Yeah. I trimmed up these pieces a little bit just with the razor knife, cleaned them up a little bit. This one I kind of shoved in here. It's missing the corner that broke off, but that's okay. And then this one, just go right back in here like that. I've seen people silicone these pieces back on, use some kind of caulk. I'm just gonna use the hot glue gun. I've seen a couple people use the hot glue gun, and I'm just opting for that because it dries the fastest. So we're gonna run with that, and I think it should seal it up just fine. Okay, all glued up. Let's get it back together. Boom! Left side done. Now let's do the other side. Dang. Second time's always better. That is way better than the other side. Watching all the Peck Bros while I work. There it is. Everything's working like it should. Dang. What a fix. Way better than spending $800 plus per side for this taillight. I hope this video was helpful to anyone else trying to do this fix. If you liked it, if it was helpful, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And until next time, go build something cool. Later. So I forgot to mention, I just thought it was interesting. Both of these taillights, passenger side was not working at all. The driver's side was just really dim. The passenger side was broke, the top piece was broken, and the bottom piece wasn't quite broken yet, but I soldered both of them. On this side, it was totally opposite. The bottom was broken, and the piece was actually totally gone, that little cross piece. And the top was just, wasn't broken yet. But I soldered both of them on that. So I don't know if that is, I don't know how it's wired, but if that's the way to tell, like if it's dim, if the brake light is just really dim, then it's the bottom one that's broken, and if it's not working all together, then it's the top that's broken. I don't know. Just thought it was interesting. Pass it along. Later.